You found your way to Whispers of Crimes, a quiet corner where the shadows of the past are gently told. Here, we speak of real crimes and mysteries, not to shock or scare, but to wonder, to reflect, and maybe to help you fall asleep. So close your eyes, let your thoughts slow down, and come with me into tonight's case. Shipman, Virginia, isn't the kind of place where headlines are made. Nestled in Nelson County, it's a town where people know each other's names, where doors are left unlocked, and life moves slowly. But that fragile sense of peace was shattered on an otherwise ordinary afternoon in April 2024. The first reports were chaotic, a shooting right outside a private home. Sirens pierced the stillness as deputies rushed to the scene. Kevin Small, 48 years old, was lying outside his residence, unresponsive. Attempts to revive him were futile. He was pronounced dead at the scene. News spread quickly, but even more shocking was the name soon connected to the crime, Katelynn Hipes. Young, familiar to some, a member of the same tight-knit community. It didn't make sense. How had an everyday dispute ended with such irreversible violence? Today, we piece together the story, the tensions, the warning signs, and the tragic ending that no one can undo. Please be advised, this episode contains content that may be upsetting to some listeners. Listener discretion is strongly advised. Chapter 1. Who is Katelynn Hipes? Katelynn Hipes wasn't a stranger to law enforcement. At 23 years old, she already had a history of legal trouble, with charges ranging from simple assault to property damage. But even with her past, no one expected her name to be attached to a murder charge. Friends and acquaintances painted a complex picture. Some said she was troubled, struggling with anger, perhaps with deeper, unaddressed mental health issues. Others described her as fiery, stubborn, quick to react when she felt disrespected or threatened. Still murder? That was something different. It was a chilling escalation far beyond previous behavior. How does someone cross that invisible line from confrontation to deadly violence? Was it impulse, fear, or something premeditated? The questions surrounding Katelynn Hipes would dominate conversations for months to come. Chapter 2. Kevin Small. The victim behind the headlines. Kevin Small wasn't a celebrity. He didn't have $1 million house, nor a string of newsworthy achievements. But in Shipman, he was known. Friends called him loyal, hardworking, set in his ways, sure, but at his core, a decent man. Neighbors described Kevin as someone you could count on for a favor. If your car broke down, he'd help. If you needed advice, he'd offer it. He wasn't perfect, of course, no one is, but nothing in his past hinted that his life would end violently. Understanding Kevin matters because in the aftermath of tragedy, victims often become symbols, flattened into headlines. Kevin Small deserves to be remembered as a human being, not just a casualty. His life had value. His death left a hole for his family, for his friends, and for a town that still struggles to understand how things went so horribly wrong. Chapter 3. The day everything changed, April 22nd, 2024. The details are still somewhat blurry, but this much is clear. An argument broke out between Katelynn Hipes and Kevin Small. Witnesses described it as heated. Shouting could be heard. There may have been past grievances, maybe bad blood simmering for weeks or months even. Then, in a flash, it escalated. A firearm was produced. A single gunshot rang out across the otherwise quiet neighborhood. And just like that, Kevin Small was lying on the ground, bleeding out, life slipping away. When police arrived, they found Katelynn still on the scene. She wasn't on the run. She wasn't hiding. What went through her mind at that moment remains a mystery. Shock? Regret? Justification? She was arrested without further incident, charged initially with second-degree murder. No bond, no chance to walk free as the case unfolded. That one instant, just seconds long, altered 2 lives forever. One ended. One effectively imprisoned. Chapter 4. The legal battle begins. The days after the shooting were filled with confusion and anger. Some locals wanted answers. Some demanded justice. Others, surprisingly, called for understanding, suggesting that Katelynn's actions were somehow provoked or done in self-defense. As Katelynn appeared in court for the first time, her face told a story words couldn't. Fear. Maybe even disbelief at how serious things had become. The prosecutors, though, had no doubts. They charged her with second-degree murder, arguing that the shooting was intentional but not premeditated, a crime of passion, not planning. Her defense team immediately started building a case, exploring every angle. Was she truly in danger? Was it an act of self-defense? Or had a confrontation simply spiraled out of control? Meanwhile, Kevin Small's family watched on, grieving, furious that even the possibility of a justification was being raised. For them, the facts were simple. Kevin was gone. Nothing could excuse that. As court dates loomed and more evidence was gathered, the stakes couldn't have been higher. Would the community rally around the victim? Or would it fracture further as sympathies divided? Chapter 5. Searching for meaning in tragedy. In tragedies like this, there is a temptation to look for easy answers. One bad person, one good person. One simple cause that can be explained in a headline or a few angry comments online. But real life, especially in small towns like Shipman, is rarely that simple. Maybe Katelynn was an evil. Maybe Kevin wasn't perfect. Maybe what happened was the disastrous collision of 2 flawed, ordinary lives. But recognizing complexity doesn't erase guilt. It doesn't undo loss. It doesn't bring Kevin back, nor does it erase the heavy consequences now facing Katelynn Hipes. Both families are left grappling with grief and anger. 2 futures destroyed, one by death, the other by the crushing weight of the justice system. These kinds of events leave scars far beyond the individuals involved. Friends grow distrustful. Neighbors lose faith in their community. Even years later, there will be people in Shipman who remember where they were the day Kevin Small died. Chapter 6. Conclusion. Lessons from a small-town tragedy. The story of Katelynn Hipes and Kevin. Small isn't just about crime and punishment. It's a story about the fragility of life. About how quickly anger can turn lethal. About the ways unchecked conflict can spiral beyond anyone's control. Maybe it's a warning about the importance of addressing issues before they explode, about supporting those struggling with mental health, about taking threats seriously when they emerge. Or maybe at its core is simply a heartbreaking reminder that every action, every decision made in a split second can change countless lives forever. Today, Katelynn Hipes faces a long road through the legal system, her fate uncertain. Kevin Small's family faces an even harder truth. No sentence, no verdict will bring their loved one back. Shipman, Virginia, remains quieter now, but it will never be the same. That's all for tonight's story. Another thread in the web of true crime, quietly unraveling as the night goes on. If you're still with me, thanks for listening. And if sleep has already taken you, may your dreams be peaceful and your mind at ease. I'll be here next time by the fire with another story waiting to be told. Good night, and don't forget to lock your doors.